the most comforting thing I found out when I got there was that everyone is weird, and that makes it so much less stressful.
Hi everyone, I'm Charge and Die. You could call me Noelle, you could call me Mama Wolf. I reply to all those things. But yeah, this is Scareactor Stories. Welcome. I am mainly known for my Scareactor Stories on TikTok. That's how this all got started. And then after a while, during the mess, I started running out of stories, and I wanted a chance to also give my fellow Scareactors a chance to tell their stories too. Because, you know, it's a lot of fun, and we hardly ever talk scaring. So I have a special guest with me tonight. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, hi everybody. So my name is Remy, and I've been doing the spook for 3 years, and I've done a whole bunch of different things, and it's my favorite job ever, I think. And it's completely opposite to what I do in my regular life, which is working with little kids. So I mean, we scare little kids as well, obviously, but what I do when I'm not scaring is totally opposite, working as like a teacher, and I've done like preschool and whatnot, so they're polar opposite.
And yet it's balanced, because if you get very frustrated in your daily job, then you can take it out in the scare acting job. It's therapy. It's
precisely
great. Maroon Wolf
and I
says,
build up my patience both ways.
Exactly. See, they go hand in hand. It just seems like opposites. Opposites attract. There you go. Awesome.
Exactly.
Maroon Wolf says, hey, Remy, thanks for taking time out of your day to join us. Absolutely.
Yeah,
thank you.
Absolutely.
Doc, I love to scare kids. That sounds worse than it should. No, it's great in this context, because we all love to scare kids here.
I love doing it too.
We love to scare kids, as kids that are not traumatized. That's the difference.
Precisely. The kids that they know what's going on, they love being there. Those are the kids that get my favorite scares.
They're so much fun. So, Remy, how did you get started in scare acting? Going from teaching kids and working with kids, how did you decide, you know, I really just need to scare them instead?
I mean, what was funny is the summer before my first year, which was 2016. This is why I wrote this down. So that summer I was supposed to be working at like a kids science camp. I had applied work at this science camp like towards the end of their hiring process, like towards the very end. And then eventually they like basically realized they needed less staff. So because they had hired me towards the end, they were like, actually, we don't need you. And I was like, well, meh. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go audition for a haunt and whatever. I was like, I'm just going to do something totally opposite. And I had no idea what I was doing. Absolutely no idea. But I have a dance background and like general movement background, so I definitely think that helped, because in terms of like body awareness and, you know, not knocking over the cones when you're doing the audition.
Don't touch the cone. That's a huge thing we talk about.
Don't touch the cones. Not touch the cones. So I knew how to not touch the cones, and I think that was a big help, because I knew from doing like just 5 seconds of research that getting in on your first year is not always easy. And so I was really lucky, and I just got selected my first year and just did it. And I happened to be also in school at the time. It was my senior year at Chapman University in Orange County. I was driving up every weekend.
Oh, you poor thing.
Because I really wanted to do it. I was like, you know what? Screw it. I was like, it's my senior year.
I love it.
I was like, I'm just going to do it. And so I did. And luckily my mom lives like 20 to 30 minutes north of Universal, so I was staying at her house like on the Saturday or Friday and Saturday nights, so I didn't have to drive all the way back to Orange every single night. So I would just drive up on the Thursday and drive back to Orange on the Sunday. So it ended up working out, but
I gotta take a moment because someone redeemed stretch and hydrate, so I gotta stretch and hydrate in my stream.
Yes. I'm gonna stretch my right arm because I can't stretch my left arm.
Yep. I understand. She just got the vaccine, everyone, so she's her one arm's dead right now.
So
so it's even it's more intense. Okay, that makes sense. Oh,
well, yeah.
man. But we definitely promote self-care in my stream, so
I'm
every
excited.
once in a while there might be a self-care moment and someone redeems hydrate and stretch, so if I do that, that's what's happening. But thanks for that, Doc.
It's very important to hydrate.
I just worked out before this, so I definitely needed to stretch. All right, but that's great that you were able to find scare acting even from, you know, you were looking forward to something. It let you down a little bit, but then you turned it into something positive, and that's fantastic.
Yeah, and I had been to the event once in high school. I think I went like my sophomore year, which I don't even know what year that would have been in real life, but whatever that was, I had been to the event once. But I've always loved Halloween, so I was like, I want to do that, and then I forgot about it for a long time, and then as soon as I was essentially let go before I even started that science camp, I was like, you know what? I was like, when are auditions for this? And I typed it in and I signed up and I went, and rest is history.
Yeah, I definitely think the dance background helped in the audition because it is a lot of body awareness, and we haven't talked about that specifically. I think before we've talked about like be aware of your surroundings, don't touch the cone and everything, but it is a lot of movement, and especially if you could separate certain muscles from others and like just move your upper torso rather than your legs. Isolations help so much, and that's what I do when I do like do you have a go-to audition character in mind, or do you just kind of go for it?
I feel like every year that we've had the opportunity to do like a character, which I'm pretty sure is every single year, I feel like I always end up going for almost like cheerleader, if that makes any sense. Like psycho cheerleader. I don't know if that makes any sense.
Alright.
But because it's not quite like Harley Quinn, like I wouldn't put it there. But like evil beach babe, maybe, I don't know. There's like a whole spectrum. Basically, evil girl to a degree.
Creative. I like it.
Never really did zombie related things.
Good, because that's an automatic out with Scott. Just so you know.
I was like, everyone's been there, done that. I'm also not good at doing that because I'm just like, my body doesn't move like that. So
if you drag your foot, it's an automatic no for Halloween Horror Nights, just to let people know.
Exactly.
Don't drag a foot.
And that's what I figured too.
Unless you have a disability, but if you have that kind of disability, why are you scaring? Unless you can make it work for you. I don't know. It's like, I don't want to pass judgment, but I'm also concerned more than anything.
Exactly, yeah. So there were some that and like luckily in all of my auditions, like I was not the first one to go. So like it's really helpful to see someone else go and then see person on panel being like,
yeah.
Being like, okay, don't do that. Don't do that. Or when they're like, they look at each other and they're like,
and then copy
like,
that. Okay. Yeah, now you know what to look for. That's great that you went the first time auditioning, first time going is the worst. Because you don't know what they're looking for. Every haunt's different. Some favor voice over body. I think every place you need to be good at moving, because that's a lot of what scaring is, but some places are looking for like good screamers versus like dancer types. Doc says, Remy, I scared a kid so bad one Halloween, so bad that he ran all the way back up the street that he and his dad walked down. You just gave that kid a lot of exercise. Good job, Doc.
Yes, I love that.
Oh, wow.
One second, I'm gonna look for a hard book to put my computer on because it is angry that I'm on a pillow right now.
Oh, yeah, it's probably overheating.
1 second.
You're smothering it, Remy.
It's my computer's trying to take off. Okay.
Oh god.
I found it. I found one. Is this heavy? Ooh, okay. Don't lift that with my vaccine arm.
Oh, you poor thing. By the way, everyone in the chat, if you have any questions for me or Remy concerning scare acting and how to get started, how to act certain characters, whatever you may ask, we're here. We can answer them for you. So Just know that our answers are based on our own personal experiences scaring, because it's different everywhere. And we're in California, so Halloween Horror Nights, Hollywood. Oh my god, Scan, get out of here.
There we go.
Yay, is it happy now?
Happy now. We
happy
are not...
laptop. Yay. Great. So that was the audition. What are some tips you could give people auditioning for the first time Prowling Horror Nights?
Practice before you go.
Fair.
Practice moving around. I mean, outside was what I like. I was just kind of running around my backyard, and I would have, I would put obstacles as well, and just moving around and making sure you know where that thing is helpful. And what else did I do before my first audition? It was a long time ago. I was nervous. I had no idea what I was doing, but the most comforting thing I found out when I got there was that everyone is weird, and that makes it so much less stressful. I think, because like I got there and the first thing I saw it was two guys who were like to each other. That was like their hello move. And for me, coming from like the auditions that I had been to in the past were all for Disney, which like I loved going to Disney auditions because they were just fun. But everyone is like, "Hi, nice to meet you." You know, everyone's like so proper and so in D mode. And I got to the audition for HHN and everyone was just weird, and I was like, okay, this is way less stressful than I thought it was gonna be.
Oh, we are a bunch of weirdos. If you weren't
made
convinced,
it so much better. Oh,
it makes it, yeah, oh, absolutely. There was this person who just looked really interesting to me. I remember for my audition. I had just moved to LA. I had never gone to Halloween Horror Nights. Didn't know what to expect for the audition because like this is for a theme park. I usually did haunts up in San Francisco for smaller companies. So, like, I was nervous, but not at the same time. It's like, I scared, but not for this kind of thing before.
Yep.
And I was sitting at this table with this one woman who clearly was a vet. Like, she had been doing it for many years. She was super comfortable, but she was very interesting looking, too. And I just kept staring at her going, like, you're so cool. And then I was sitting with these two nerdy boys who were talking, like, D&D. So I was, like, chatting with them. I will say, one of them was definitely sexist. And he was like, but you're a girl, you wouldn't know this. And I just,
yes, I do.
I showed him up. I was like, technically this, and this, and this about this game, and blah, 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 blah. And he was not expecting me to even know that certain game or whatever.
So
and it shut him up real quick, and I caught in the corner of my eye that one really interesting looking girl just like snickering to herself. I'm like, I'm accepted! Oh my god! And it's just such a bunch of weird, different people, all coming from all different walks of life. And
exactly, and I just like, I felt like I could just cut this string that was like, I'm at an audition.
And then you go to Halloween Horror Nights auditions, or just any haunt audition, to be honest, and you're just like,
and everyone's like,
up? I've never met any of you in my life. How are you?
I love you all.
I love you already.
Yes, exactly. So I felt so much better.
Oh, that's great. And I'm so happy to hear that you got in your first round, because that almost never happens from what I hear. I was also one of the few blessed to have gotten it the first time they auditioned too. I was not expecting it. But I heard a lot of people who were like, oh yeah, this is my 7th year auditioning, and you know, like 10th year auditioning, never got it. And, like,
I mean, the audition itself is just so much fun, and you learn a lot in your first audition. Like, I had no clue what I was walking into. I didn't know what it was like. You obviously can't. There's not a lot of. I'm such a visual person that, like, to understand what was going on, for me, I would have needed to see a video, and obviously no one takes a video of the audition process every year, so...
Plus, I don't think we're allowed. There are, like, certain things that we're not allowed to say or whatever. Plus, it's different every year, so we don't even know.
So I knew I wasn't going to find a video, you know, someone's vlog, because it doesn't exist, because it's not allowed. And so for me, I was like, that was where my anxiety came from, because I was like, I don't know what it's going to look like. I don't know what everyone else is doing. And then as soon as I got there, all of my anxiety just went whoop, goodbye, because everyone was so nice. So those are my two things: is just practice moving around, whether that means taking a dance class or whatever, go on a hike, just be more aware of your body in a space. And don't forget that people are nice.
You'll always get those people that are just there to be nasty, but they're facing their own insecurities in that regard, so just know
Exactly.
everyone else is there to just have a fun time. We're there to scare. It's our job, it's our passion, whatever, so just go to those people. Find the positivity. Yeah. Doc says, Remy looks like, forgive me if I mispronounce his name, Satine Creasy from Star Wars The Clone Wars.
Oh, thank you.
Alright, I need to look up the character and compare.
So do I, apparently.
Alright, I haven't seen the Clone Wars. I should totally see the Clone Wars.
I'm happy about that, because I love Star Wars, so yes.
Yeah, awesome. So that was the audition process. What was your first year like?
My first year was epic. I was in the back lot, and I was playing some really... So when I got my, thing that has your character description on it, or the name of your character,
Yeah.
we had no idea what our thing meant, because whoever named our thing just like... We realized when we got to our set that our character names made sense, but not knowing what the Purge scare zone looked like, this didn't make sense, because our thing said dancing hanging girl, and we were like, what does that mean?
Oh, is
like,
that...
are we...
Do you know Sammy?
Yes.
Was she one of those? Okay, so now I know what you're talking about.
I was a dancing hanging girl with Sammy. So
Oh, okay,
when we
okay.
first read them, we were like, what is this? Like, am I hanging in something and dancing? Like,
Oh, that would
what?
be so epic. Can you imagine?
like
Sorry,
our-
side tangent.
Oh, you're good.
What if someone made a harness and like
Exactly.
strung someone up, and then they act like they're dead, but then they come to
Then
life? And
Exactly.
I want that to happen. Okay, someone make
Exactly.
it happen for me.
Right? And so I was like, we were all kind of like, what? And then we realized I guess Murdy had like really liked that 2 seconds, whatever Purge movie, maybe it was election year, where there's a tree of like hanging torsos, and then there's like girls dancing around it that were like dressed in all white and had this long hair, and they were in the movie for about as long as they were in the trailer, which was about 2 seconds. But apparently he really liked it and wanted that in the scare zone, so we were that like circle of dancing murderer girls with no faces, or at this tree of hanging torsos. So it was very visual. It was really fun, because we had it was my first experience wearing anything like over my face for a long period of time, just on my face for a long period of time, because we had white airbrush, was like, that's not a big deal, easy, goes on in 15 seconds. But we had this like mesh sock, basically, that was our mask. We had to stretch them out at first because they were so tight that like you couldn't open your eyes.
Oh god.
So that was fun. We put them on, and Scott was like, can you guys open your eyes? And we were like, nope.
Oh.
And so we had to like put them over, the heads, the mannequin heads, for a little bit. But it was cool because in the fog and in the dark, it looked like we just had these like white void faces. It was really awesome. We had these like big mermaid wigs that were amazing. And then it was all just like white and flowy, and we had machetes and knives, and so it was like this really, really interesting, really comfortable costume, which was a blessing.
Oh, absolutely.
I was worried that I was going to be put in something that was like super uncomfortable, because I have like luckily every year I've been okay, because I have like sensory, not like full sensory processing disorder, but like for certain clothing items, like I can't have like things bunched up in my armpits, which like that's uncomfortable for everyone usually, but I can sense it if it's like the smallest thing, or like things too close to my neck or whatever. So I was always nervous that I was going to get a costume that like I couldn't deal with. And I haven't had that happen yet, which is awesome. So that was like, my first year was amazing, because we also had in my opinion one of the greatest like moms of our like scare zone. Is Gabby Cuevas is just
Oh, I love
and
Gabby. Gabby's amazing. Oh,
just like mom, and she's the bomb. So yeah, so like for my first year to like have the team that we had of Scareactors as well as our leadership was just like amazing. And we also like that scare zone also had chainsaws, which was bomb. So it was just like really good first year. Like I could not have asked for a better year to be like my first year. So it was awesome. And we got to be like on the backlot that year. Was like the mazes that were down there were just huge. It was like American Horror Story, it was Freddy versus Jason and Krampus. And since 2016 was before a certain event company, we got to go like, visit all the other mazes like much more frequently than we have in the last couple of years. So that was also like it was so much fun. So we got to know like everyone at all of the mazes.
nice.
And it wasn't as like confined to our area. So it was awesome, but it was totally tiring. I had no idea, like the exhaustion.
I call it the Scareactor fatigue. Those first 2 weeks, your body's just getting used to moving like that again, and
Yeah,
just gotta push through it. And
because we
it gets
also,
easier.
yeah, we also like, and this changed very quickly. But first, they wanted us because in the movie, it was like a flurry of murderers around this street. Like they were dancing and skipping and moving. That's what they wanted for that area, aka they wanted someone to be moving at all times. And we were like, what? Because we were on set
What a workout!
for an hour.
Woo!
Did hour on, hour off.
At least we had an hour off.
Yeah, so hour off was amazing. we had time to take a nap, time to do all the things. But yeah, moving for an hour doesn't work. So I guess we originally had less people out, and maybe we were doing 45s or something, and then we've had more people out and we were doing hours, so that one or two of us could be moving at all times and the others could be hiding or still, whatever, so that we weren't passing out. I think my favorite thing of that whole season was doing what's the term, like Red Rover, where you're like standing at the end, basically where our area was. We would stand at the end of, because where we were, the next zone was the saws. And so what we would do, we had this like big archway that's in that section of the backlot, and we would stand at that archway, people, and we would hold hands, stand in a line, and we'd freeze. People would come through the fog and just see this line of us standing there in their path, like in the way.
Creepy.
And they'd be like, what? And then whoever was in the middle would squeeze like their hands, and it would, like the squeeze train would go down, and then we'd all run at them at the same time. It was fun, and we couldn't really see who was coming because fog. And so there was a time where we were like, let's do Red Rover, and we run over to the thing, and we hold hands, and the fog goes up, and we see feet, and I squeeze, and we run up. Like you can feel, after, you scare for a little bit, you can feel how close you are to someone. So I stop because I know the feet are close to me. The fog clears and it's Murdy just right in my face.
Oh my god.
And he did a little like, and I was like, yes.
It's such an honor to be able to scare Murdy.
Man,
For those who don't know,
like,
John Murdy is the one who like designs all of the scare zones and the mazes and HHN, and he's a big deal in the horror community. So it's an absolute honor to have him work for HHN.
He's like one of the fathers of Halloween Horror Nights.
Oh, absolutely.
If not the.
Yes. Yeah. So he's a big deal. So when we say Murdy, that's who we're talking about. Is basically
John Murdy,
one of the fathers of HHN.
William,
hi, William. William was one of my Jasons in 2017 on Terror Tram. Does she remember the Miley Cyrus song playing over and over?
Oh God. In my dreams, like literally,
Which
that
Miley
song,
Cyrus
like when
song?
I hear it now, I'm like, oh God. I have
Just
like
takes it back immediately.
flashbacks. Yeah, it was one of those things where like eventually it just kind of like tunes out. Like, you just don't hear it anymore.
Turns to white
After
noise.
several weeks. Yeah. It was fun in the sense that, like, it was kind of the cast joke of, like, on our first night, on our last night, there's videos of us, like, singing, shouting the whole song as, like, a mob, like a mosh pit.
Which song was it? That was before my time.
It was Party in the USA.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, William goes,
so
I was in the Hillbilly Purge. I was with her my first 3 nights.
There you go.
Alright. I wish I could do the Purge. That sounds so cool. I did the Purge.
Which was fun.
I did the Purge mini Scare Zone in 2017 for like 2 nights between the Bloomhouse mazes where they walk through that small section.
Yeah.
And that was a blast. That was one of my favorite spots.
Yes.
But yeah, I never got to see the year prior because 2017 was my first year.
Yeah, 2016 was fun. It was a huge learning experience, that's for sure. I had at the beginning, I was kind of surprised because I come from like dance and like a little bit theater and like mostly athletic background, so I was like, why am I so tired? Why
no
do
matter
I hurt
how
so much?
fit you are, you get that fatigue the first couple weeks.
I tried to like prepare my body for 2019. It still didn't work.
I'm telling you, no matter how fit you are, how prepared you are, you're gonna get tired those first couple weeks because your body's adjusting to the new schedule and the movement and all that.
The repetitive movements.
Yeah, I gotta avoid those repetitive motion injuries. But yeah, your body has to adjust, so no matter how fit you are, you gotta give it time. Give it those first couple weeks. If it's still not for you after the first 2 weeks, okay, I get it. But you gotta give it past those first 2 weeks. Gotta get past that hump.
It is. It's rough, but you can do it.
Yeah. How was 2017 and
So 2017, I actually wasn't here. I was in Florida because I was doing the DCP, which was really fun.
Oh, cool.
And I love the
Disney
Disney
College
program
for those who don't know. Yeah.
It was super fun, and because like I was sad that I wasn't going to be here for HHN, but I knew I was going to get to go to HHN in Orlando, which was awesome. So I got to like see how it works over there. And it was really cool to see all of the like original concept pieces that they do over there, just because they have so much room.
It's so much bigger there. I haven't been to Halloween Horror Nights in Orlando, but I want to so bad.
It's really awesome.
Yeah, you had fun.
It was great, and I like miss. I had so much FOMO of like not scaring that I actually got the what's it called in Orlando? Like the frequent fear tickets or ticket pass thing that you can do in Orlando. That I think you can do it in Hollywood too, where like you can go on several nights. And I ended up doing that, and I went like 5 or 6 times whenever I could. Aww. Mostly because where I was working at Disney, I was usually closing. So if there was a night that I wasn't working or was had a morning shift randomly, like I would be like, can I go tonight? And I went so many times. So that was my 2017. I wasn't actually here for it, but I was checking out Orlando for that. And then I came back in 2018. So I did 2018 and 2019.
And what were you those years?
2018, I was in Blumhouse, which was like the year they did like a combination of movies. It was like, what were those movies?
It was like Happy Death Day. No, that was the year before.
What was the one? It was like Truth or Dare.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I know. It was Truth or Dare, Unfriended, I think. And then they created like the random thing at the end. And initially, and I think this happened, and I ended up talking, I forget, maybe to Allison, about like what had happened, because I think this happened because I was gone in 2017. But in 2018, when I first got cast, I ended up being cast in Blackout, and I was like, this doesn't make any sense. I was like, I don't want to do Blackout. And like some people love Blackout because it's way chill. But my Blackout role initially was not meant for a small, weak person who's 5'4", because we were like moving picture frames and like shaking this dresser. Oh. And the picture frame things were like, if they were here, it would like ergonomically, it would have been fine. But they were like up, and so my shoulders, my hands were totally messed up. pushing on the bar for the dresser was like, it hadn't been padded yet, and like I have little wimpy baby hands, so they like, my whole upper body was just totally shot.
This is a constant workout.
I told them, I was like, this is not working for me physically. Like, not also just like I don't want to be behind the scenes. I want to be staring in people's faces. Like, this is not working for me. We need to figure it out.
Yeah.
And so luckily there was what was her name? Aura Barnes, that's what it was. Which was like a demon girl character in, I think, the unfriended part of the maze. And that role was really physically difficult for a lot of people. And we had like 1 or 2 girls like ask to be moved out of that role. And I was like, I'll do it. I was like, I don't care. I was like, I've put myself through this pain before. And so I ended up moving into that role, which was so much fun because it was really physically challenging, but we had 4 different scare spots, which were all types of different things. It was like shower, it was closet, it was two-way mirror, and like a screen that you jump out of. So all like, different types of pulling and opening and jumping out of stuff. So it was like very physically challenging, but it was so much fun. Especially the screen room, that was my favorite for sure. Because the only thing that was tricky about that is you were jumping through a screen. Our mask, like, had the wig on it, would always get messed up when you like throw your face through the screen.
Yeah. I can see
so
that
when you
happening.
like come back, you're like, you try to go look at your monitor to like see what's happening, and you have to be like, hold on. While you're looking at the monitor.
Is it one of those screens that you like have to push out of the way, or can you just go right for it?
You can just jump right. You can throw your half of your body.
So it was soft enough of a material. Yeah. That's interesting.
It was soft enough of a material, so it was really fun to just like explode through, but you were also hitting your like diaphragm. I mean, depending on how tall you are. I'm small, so I was hitting my diaphragm on this, like, it was padded. It was heavily padded, but you're still like impacting.
You're still knocking the wind out a little bit every time.
Yeah, so I got a lot stronger because I ended up always putting my hand, like pushing myself up on the thing and then going through. So as to not ruin my diaphragm and my breathing ability. But that one was really fun. It was very important. But that year was really wild because of all of the like, there was a lot of like role switching going on. But it ended up being really fun because that role, that demon Laura, whatever, was such a challenge. Like, we always had one spot open, so there was always a pool person coming in, which was awesome because then we got to like meet most of pool. I felt like we met most of pool. We also eventually had like people kind of doing general role changes, and we had at one point there was a dude who was like, you know what? Can I be Laura Barnes for a night?
I love that.
Paul Mead was like, yeah, sure. So,
I love that.
Amazing.
Why not? Oh,
So
I love how
people were
chill
like-
that is.
Yeah, and I got to switch roles with someone for a night, in like a different section of the maze, and that was really fun because they were in like the statue room and got to like, work with a different trigger and whatnot. Yeah, that my 2018 year was kind of a rough year because the first 2 weeks I hated Blackout so much. And I was just, for me, it was so annoying because the room because like I wanted to be, line scaring, and because I love it so much, and it was so hard to just like sit on, like watch a monitor of someone else scaring while like just manipulating things in the room.
Yeah, you're more the ambiance rather than the scare itself.
And I was mad because
still important, but it's not
absolutely important, and that's why it's important that we have people that love Blackout, because Blackout is, depending on what you're doing, can be really fun and can be also really chill for the people who don't want to be ruining their body all night.
Right. We had
I
a couple
my
people who willingly, voluntarily chose Blackout because the position they were in was hurting their back. So they needed something a little more chill. And then they eventually came back, and then they would switch out again every once in a while when their back was hurting. So it's like, it's a good option if you you know, tend to get hurt more.
Yeah.
And then there's other blackout that's very
who just,
physically
requested at the start.
challenging. So it really depends on what's needed. Because you could do what Remy was doing, where you have to reach up and move things and shake things. Other things are maybe manipulating a ginormous head, and it comes out back in.
Yeah.
And there's all kinds of blackout, or like a puppet, and you have to like reach out and, you know, almost touch someone. So
spray people with water.
Spray people with water. Yeah. See, there's so much for blackout.
Yeah.
It's limitless.
Different kinds, and it just like wasn't my vibe, and I was
That's perfectly fine.
glad I was able to switch. And that was the best part, is like it was perfectly fine, and we found, you know, switch. We had someone like permanently, I think, came from pool and then actually really liked my blackout spot, so they stayed. And so we like got a new, you know, Maze fam member. It ended up being a great year. But it was definitely challenging at first, and physically it was probably one of the hardest if I had to choose, because last year was probably the hardest physically.
All right, let's go down the line.
18 was a challenge as well.
2018 was okay. So you scared. 2016, 2017 you took off. 2018 was physically demanding. What about 2019?
Yes.
Your last year.
2019, I think, was the most physically and emotionally demanding, but it was easiest costume of all three, because my first year, the like white flowy was obviously comfortable, but there were a lot of pieces. There were like 2 skirts, a shirt, an over thing, and it was just like it was a lot to try to like get in and out of costume. We had clunky boots, and like it was a lot. It was comfortable. My second year was still comfortable, but a little less comfortable because we were in jeans. That's just like never fun for a long period of time when you're scaring. But it wasn't like so bad that we had to change it or anything. And then last year, or not, with whatever, time is fake. 2019.
When we say last year, we mean 2019, because that was the last year we could have scared. Right. Okay. Clearing that up.
Yes. And basically our costume was black graduation gown, pumpkin head. It was like the easiest thing. Like I just got to wear my own like leggings and like black tank top underneath. I wore black shoes, or sometimes I just went in with black socks because I was like, I don't want to wear shoes right now. And our room was in Holidays in Hell, which was so much fun. And it was the Halloween room of the Maze, so I was pumped because Halloween's my favorite holiday. And I was like, this is the greatest assignment ever. The tricky thing was that room was like one of these things is not like the other room. So there were a bunch of fake pumpkin heads, and then we had a stilt in that room, which was amazing. So it was like regular pumpkin, stilt pumpkin, another regular pumpkin. So there were 2 or 3 of us in the room at all times. But obviously when you're doing that, like one of these things is not like the other. Standing still is a lot harder than it sounds. For me, that was like a big shock, because I was like, oh, this is gonna be great. It's gonna be like a way less physically stressful year than last year. No, wrong. Absolutely wrong.
Never go in thinking that it's gonna be the worst year ever if you go in thinking like, oh, it's gonna be an easy year. No.
Nope. And we had in our like security room where they're watching you to keep you safe on the screens, big screen was always pumpkin room, because we got by far the most amount of hits and interesting guest interactions. So it was my first year 2016. I think I got touched like once, like once or twice. Someone like tapped me on the head. It was really random, but I was like, oh, no thank you. And if people were being weird, we would just go get chainsaws and be like, can you
just scare them out
my
of the
second
way.
year my second year I didn't get touched at all, because that demon character was behind something all the time.
Gotcha.
And this year we just got beaten up because we were out there in the open.
I thought you were talking about like interesting interactions, not like being beaten up. I feel bad about the applause now. Retracting that.
Yeah, there were definitely some like interesting and like not painful interactions that were just funny. But basically we realized that, because we were wondering like, why are the pumpkins being beat up and everyone else is usually fine. We had our area supervisor did a walkthrough like a bunch of times, purposefully behind, like he would go in behind what looks like a potentially rowdy crowd, see like, where does it switch? And all of a sudden they start hitting the pumpkins. And it was because he realized that everyone else up until pumpkins was somewhat protected. So like in the beginning, there was like the New Year's Eve people who were like kind of out in the open, but it was right in the beginning, and people like want to get into the maze. And then there was like the nightmare nurse who was like behind the cribs, and like Father Time who was like up on a platform. And basically through every other holiday, they were all a little bit protected. Like the leprechauns came out from something, Cupid's coming out of doors and stuff. So everyone was protected except for the pumpkins. So the people who wanted to mess people up and waiting for like an opportunity to easily smack someone, and as soon as they walked into the pumpkin room, they were like, oh, this person's right here.
But why? I don't understand why people go through mazes wanting to hurt
I don't
someone.
Either.
I don't understand the psychology
Doesn't
of
make
it.
any sense.
Oh,
Me
God.
too. But like, we're glad he figured it out, because everyone was so confused. Like, why is this happening only to us? Or not only to us, but like 98% to us.
Yeah, you're getting the bulk of
And
it.
so
Were you
everyone was
okay?
like-
Was
everyone
everyone
was
okay?
like,
How was the stilt
"Oh."
walker? Because that's rough.
The stilt was amazing. So, because I wasn't on stilt, but our stilt walkers were amazing in terms of protection, because they could see, often, they could see the people usually before we did. Because when you're it was hard on your eyes to like, try to have your pumpkin head where it looks like it's not looking at people, but then like kind of look and see what the people look like. So our stilt, since they were facing the entrance where people would come into the room, we could easily see what their energy was like first, see what they were doing when they walked in, and you could tell that like people were touchy, because the first thing the first pumpkin they could mess with when they walked in was a dummy, thankfully. When it was just to their right. And so if people came in and they were like, whoa, I would move. I would just move out of my spot. And I wouldn't even scare them. They'd be like, oh, look, there she goes. And I'm like, I'm not even going to give you the time of day, because you just thought you hit a person and it was not a person. And
it's like you're aiming for a person. I am a person. I don't want to get hurt. Goodbye.
I'm out. And what was nice was that because the stilts so good at stilting, they are also good at stomping, which is loud when you have a stilt. So
yes, it is.
They could tell that like if someone was about to touch us, they would like stomp, and it would scare the people out of hitting us, which was helpful.
Good.
But yeah, security always had the big screen on the pumpkin room, because it was like, I think I got, like, this is not even an exaggeration, I was touched every single set. Every single set. Even if it wasn't like violent, it was like either a pat on the shoulder or like they'd tap the pumpkin head, which like, luckily the pumpkin heads had a lot of foam in them because they were big and I had a small head, so we had to like fill them with foam so that they wouldn't like rattle around. So we had a lot of padding like on around our forehead. But there was a time, and like there were two people that were, let's just say, were escorted out because of my injury. So,
are you okay?
I ended up being fine, but it was just like, this happens like right after I had like just been poked in the belly button by a teenager.
What is wrong with people? Stop! Don't touch the actors!
What was funny about that interaction was like, he was not like me in a pumpkin head and a very large graduation gown. Like, you can't tell anything about who is in that costume,
right? And
especially for me. So like, he was just like poking to poke something, and he just happened to, because it's dark and I'm wearing a completely dark thing that blends into the wall, so he like wasn't aiming for my stomach or my belly button, but he just happened to like, poke me right in the belly button, and I think he realized it too.
Literally pushing your buttons.
He immediately like was apologetic. He's like one of those teens who's like dumb and is like trying to be cool, and then when they realize they could get in trouble, they're like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry, I won't do it again, I'm so sorry." So he was like very apologetic when he like realized I was a person and that he had touched my stomach, and he was like, oh god, oh god. But I still went to like security, just be like, it's fine, don't kick him out, like he just maybe give him a warning, like it's okay. So I had just come back in from that, and then this lady came in, and I had been back at my spot for like 15 seconds, and she came in and just like heel of her hand to the top of my nose bridge, which on the mask is between the eyes of the pumpkin, and that's right where the padding stops. So she like, because the padding is up here, and so she like, the heel of her palm like hit the mask first, obviously, but the inside of those pumpkin masks is like, it's the foam latex is like pointed, so it like the two eyes of the pumpkin corners went into my eye corners.
Oh my god.
I was like, I feel like I blacked out for like a second. I was so mad because I was like, I literally just came in from this. I was like, meh.
Oh my god.
And I remember, because like we're not supposed to say anything, obviously, that's like part of our thing, like unless you're given a speaking role. That's the other thing. People who are curious about scare acting, you do not speak unless you are given a speaking thing.
For Halloween Horror Nights. Other haunts, you're allowed to say stuff as
for us, it's different, yeah.
Yeah, for us it's different, but yeah.
And so I just remember being like, why? Because I was so mad, but it was so loud in there that like, if you said anything, like no one could hear you. Because that pumpkin song was so loud, and it was kind of like Party in the USA for me. Like that song, just there was no other soundtrack. It was just that pumpkin song. So like it was a really like sensory wise, it was an overwhelming room to be in because it was kind of just like disorienting to be in there all the time. What was difficult was we started out with I can't believe we even did this for a while. We luckily got to change it, but we were doing hour on, half hour off, which is the hardest thing to do ever. No. And so, like, because none of us knew like how disorienting it was going to be in there, and how painful it is to stand flat on your feet for a long time.
Yeah.
And to like, because it's one thing to like stand on your feet, but when you're standing on your feet trying to be really still and you're like tensing your whole body gets angry. And then you have, you're lunging out at people, and like physically it was just a lot harder than any of us expected. Ow.
Oh, vaccine arm.
Vaccine arm. So it was like a lot more challenging than we expected physically. And then it was like the added piece of like everyone wanted to hit us in that room that just made it super hard. It was a really fun room because we had that stilt. So there was a lot of like what we called party scary, which is just like group scare. Where you just you're ping-ponging people through the room, and so that was my favorite part. And when there weren't people, like when people weren't in the room, because we felt so bad for security having to like always keep an eye on our room, and because it was really stressful for everybody, namely them, because they were like trying to watch all the other screens but also watch ours because they knew things were always happening in our room. So it was like mentally stressful for them.
As soon as I look away, something's gonna happen, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we felt bad for them too. And so anytime there was like the room was empty, we would be dancing, just like ridiculously dancing, which made it so much fun. And it was, like overall it was a really, really fun year. It was just so much harder than we thought it was gonna be.
Jeez, I had no idea you were getting so beat up that year. Wow.
We were getting so beat up, man. And it was, I think for me it was just kind of shocking because like the previous 2 years for me had, like I barely had any like guest interactions because of just like the role we were in. I also forgot to mention in 2018 with Blumhouse, they did Ellen that year, and that was amazing because that was like one of my like boxes to check. And I got to like be in it, which was amazing. And I got to like be my favorite scare.
Who was the guest?
Which was, it was Chrissy Teigen and her mom.
Oh.
And Andy. It was so fun. And basically Andy, duh.
Yeah.
But it was in that like the screen room, which was my favorite. So that was really fun. And like I jumped out, and because the mask always gets messed up when you jump through the screen, I was fixing it as I'm looking at the monitor to be like, what happened? Did I do a good job? And they were all on the floor. So it was amazing. I look at the monitor and like Chrissy's like helping her mom off the floor and Andy is getting up from the floor as I'm like looking at the monitor. Andy was like, you can't jump out of a TV screen. Like it was so much fun. Yeah, I forgot about that for last year, but that was like one of that like as hard as I talking about 2019 being the physically hardest, but 2018 when I thought it was hard. Like I wanted to do like all of these different things that I didn't get to do in a scare zone my first year, because like in a scare zone usually you don't have a trigger, not usually jumping out from something because you're in an open area. And so doing a maze for the first time my second year was like so different, and I got to like check all these boxes, like jump out of a shower, you know, have a trigger, be on Ellen. I checked all these things off. So going into 2019 and then like getting the role and being like, oh, this is gonna be so chill. Like we don't have triggers, we don't have to like worry about anything, because like the pumpkins did not have triggers, and so we were like, oh, this is gonna be so amazing and so chill. No, it was not. So it was like it was still a really, really fun year. We had a really great cast, because Holidays in Hell also had like the little like mini outdoor scare zone at the end. Yeah. Like when you came out of the maze, you were still in the scare zone.
Yeah.
Which was really fun. Yeah, it was quite a year. I spent a lot of money at Bob's and a lot of money at Coral.
Oh, okay.
But it was because like my because like 2016 because I was living in Orange County, like I never went out to eat afterwards with everyone, because I was like, I have to drive home, I'm going to bed.
Yeah, you had that commute.
I have homework. So like 2018 and 2019 were like, I think for me was like so different because of that like after work eating. So fun. And I was like definitely a positive of like not having the commute and getting to go eat food. Everyone's just like so delusional, and there's so many fun memories like from after work, just like eating eggs at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah, that's the best thing. It's like the equivalent of a theater kid, you know, after a show they go to Denny's or something, or IHOP or something, and it's just like you need those carbs after working out for so long, and
protein
and you bond with your fellow scarers. I never did that. I should have done that, but for me it was the opposite problem, where I lived too close to want to drive further to get food. Because
I totally feel that.
I could have walked to work. I was so spoiled in that sense. I was that close. Pro Ace just dropping by, so I dropped some biddies. Catch you later. Oh, thank you. Thanks for being here.
Hey.
Yeah. But yeah, I had the opposite problem where everyone's like, hey, you want to go here? You want to go to like K-Town, hang out after work? And I'm like, but I live right there. I live right there. I don't want to drive 20 minutes when I can drive 5.
Exactly.
Like, I love you, but no. I'm sleeping.
Yep. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like my favorite scare like interactions.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, like, were there any fun interactions, reactions?
My first year was the year that somebody pooped in our zone. It was amazing because one of the guys who was in the section right before the dancing hanging girls, he had this like the best and like just god-awful snarl ability. He had like a gas mask as part of his costume and like the pipe, and he came up behind this grown man and was just like and the man flinches, full body flinch, and then just stops. And we were watching the whole thing because he had done this scare like right at the transition between the gas mask guys and us. And we were like waiting for him to like scare the guy and then for him to like walk through our zone and then go to Saws and be done. And he stood there for like a long couple of seconds. We were like, And then he walked like he had pooped his pants. You know, the like
yeah
walk when you and so he like does that, and I was really curious, and I like went around the corner like slightly into the saw area, and I saw him walk up to the security guard and be like, and I come back to our area and we're like, I was like, poop. Someone, it wasn't Sammy, it might have been one of the other girls, Morgan, who was with us. She ran back and I could hear her being like, Gabby, poop in their pants. We like wrote it on, we had like a big, those like big rolls of paper thing. We had like in our break area, and we would write down like epic things that had happened during the night, like epic scares or just like funny things that had happened. And like right in the middle, it was like the guy who had scared him, you know, made a guy poop himself, and it was like circled and like highlighted, and everyone was like drawing smiley faces around it.
It's a big deal. It's less of a big deal than getting someone to pee their pants, because that's way more common than getting someone to poop their pants.
Yeah, but oh my god, it
happens.
And what was so sad was like we never knew what happened. No one ever got closure on that. Like, we didn't know if he went home. We didn't know if he got new pants.
Yeah,
no one ever figured it out. But, oh my god, it was just like watching a brilliant actor do their thing. Oh. And you're just like, hey,
yeah.
that is so inspiring. Then you like tell other people that don't do haunts, and they're like, ew. What? Like, they don't get it.
It's a big deal
like,
to us.
Sorry.
We're like,
I'm like, you had to be
understand.
there, but we made the guy poop himself.
This is like almost always top bucket list of any Scareactor. It's like, I want someone to poop their pants, not just pee their pants. I want them to poop their pants. And just so you guys know, we can tell when it's number 1 or number 2, usually based on how you are walking away from us. If you're leaning forward a little bit, we know it was number 1. If you're like, that was number 2. Just the little whimper. Or
but
throw
it was
up,
amazing.
says William. Or throw up, yeah. I don't think I've gotten someone to throw up.
Yeah.
But I definitely got someone to pee their pants multiple times. Not the same person multiple times, by God. But yeah, I've gotten several people to pee their pants. Poop once, I think.
It's like it's like I was so impressed.
Right?
It was my first year. Like, I had never seen anyone do that, and I was like,
so you
wow,
must think that's a normal thing. It is not like it's common enough, but it's still like, I want to get this thing.
Yeah.
Doc
I think in general, like, scaring the men is my favorite. Just like the grown men who think they're just like,
they're so
scared.
tough.
So scared. But for me, it's like the key thing is the knee lift. They lift one knee. The knee that's closest to you goes up, and they go, ooh.
It's like that football post.
It is, and that's usually like my favorite reaction, because I'm just like, hee hee hee.
I love the ones that seem really tough, and then you go to scare them, and they flail a little bit. They're like, ah! That's my favorite. Doc goes, you literally scared the shit out of him. That's awesome. Yeah.
It was so epic. And that same year, we also had. This was like one of the most memorable things ever, and I will use a different word than this 12-year-old actually used. Okay. But there was a group of what, in my mind, looks like a mall crawl of teens. Like, people don't go to the mall anymore, but like mall crawl of teens. And they were coming into our zone, and everyone was just kind of like, oh my god. Because it's clearly like the teens who are like away from their parents, and they're like saying all, you know, oh
they're
god,
so cool. They can't,
and they're saying all these
us.
Cuss words because like they're not near their mom. Oh my god, we're so cool. We're at Halloween Horror Nights. Oh my god. And our only approved speaking audio thing for that my first year was to giggle, which was really fun. And so I was like, okay. And I go, like, they're all, you know, linked arms going through our thing. At the end, like, I had been walking very quietly behind them, and I was about to giggle behind this girl's ear. And it was fun. It was like a creepy giggle. You'd go behind people and be like, you walk away, and it was always super creepy and so fun. When I'm like about to giggle, and she just happened to turn around, and so we're like face to face. So then everyone else turns around. And she goes, yes, up. And I was like, no. Oh God. I was like, you ruined it. You ruined it.
Ew,
and I was
cringy.
And I was like, you are 12. You are 12. Where is your parent? No.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was so gross. And I was just like, I was so uncomfortable. And when they like walked, and she was like, and they like walk away, and I was like stunned because I was like, what just happened?
Someone gets some
I didn't
soap.
expect this child to like, I don't know. And so I was standing there like hands on my knees, just being like, evaluating my existence. And Gabby came out and was like, what happened? Are you okay? And I was like, 12-year-olds are weird. She was like, yeah.
Yeah, they're trying to be cool
and so
with their
from
friends.
that point on, my, like, anytime anyone in our cast saw me, they'd be like, yeah. And I was like, no, everyone shut up. But that, like, just seared in my memory. Like, this is why teenagers are sometimes
They are the
worst.
scariest things out there, aren't they?
They are. And I was like, I know we all used to be one, but, like, I never did that.
No, I'm glad I was never one. Are you kidding? Like, just skip notes. I do love interacting with. I hate the teenagers that come through thinking they're the shit, you know, and you can't scare me. There was one girl. I don't know what happened
that whole
with
group
her.
that was like that.
I don't know what happened to her, but she was very clearly on something. She was either drunk or on something, and she comes through my zone. It was completely empty, so I was able to see her clearly. I couldn't see out of my mask very well, but because it was so dead, I was like focused on her. And I was about to scare her, and she stops me. She's like, "You're not scary," and I went back. I was like, "Huh." And so I just left her alone. I was just like, all right. And I walked away. She goes through the zone.
Fine, don't have a fun time.
And she's stumbling a little bit, right? And then she gets to the end of the zone. And she turns around. No, she's like in the middle of the zone. And she turns around to all of us, all the scare actors in the zone. Once again, it's completely dead. She's the only one there. So we're focused on her. And she goes, none of you are scary. And like a hive mind, I swear to God, all of us thought the same thing. We started doing the same exact thing. Slow clap and follow her out of the zone. We all did that. All of us at the same time. We didn't even look at each other. We were just like,
everyone doing it.
All right, we're doing it. And we walked her out. And then I went to security and reported her for underage drinking. So I don't know what happened to her after that.
Yeah.
But she was very clearly underage and very clearly at least drunk. There was something wrong.
Jesus.
My God. Maroon Wolf, already I
those
gotta
are the people where I'm like, congratulations.
Already I gotta go. Have an amazing night, Mama Wolf. And Remy, thank you again for joining us tonight, Remy. All right, good night, Maroon Wolf. Thanks for being here. Doc, when someone is high, they see stuff that other people can't. It depends on what they're high on.
Exactly, because we had I'm sure plenty of high people come through that pumpkin room, and they would go up to the fake pumpkins and be like, I see you, I know you're in there, and I'm the one standing next to it, and I'm like, don't laugh, don't move, don't breathe, don't laugh. Because I'm like, they're verbally assaulting a statue, and you're just like, oh my God, don't laugh. Those are probably my favorite moments in the pumpkin room, because people are just dumb sometimes, and watching people try to be intimidating to an inanimate object is like one of my favorite things to see.
It's hilarious.
That happened so hard not to laugh at them.
That happened to me once, and I've told the story on my TikTok a couple times, but it's so funny to me because I was Arrow Kill in 2017. I was working one night as Arrow Kill, which is in the Friday the 13th part of Terror Train. You go through, you pass Grindstone Kill, which was normally my spot, but I switched for the girl for the day. And there were two dummies pinned against bullseyes with arrows in them. And then the actor would be up against the third one, pretending to be like one of the dummies, and then they would have a knife hidden, and then they would come to life and scare them, and then go back and die again, and then keep doing that over and over. So I did that. This one dude with a camcorder comes through, and it was like him and his posse, you know, like some other girls and whatever, but he goes up, and he's a full-grown man. He's not like a teen or anything. He was like around our age. So he's going through, and he starts at the first dummy. He's like, oh, that's so fake. Goes to the second. Oh, that one's so fake. Goes to me. Goes, especially this one. This is the fakest. So I come to life with my knife in hand, and it freaks him out so bad he drops to the ground, drops his camcorder, goes, oh shit, that one's real, and crawls away.
Amazing.
And one of his friends had to pick up the camcorder, and they were doing like that Scooby-Doo run of like, and then they eventually went off. It was so funny.
So good. I love the drops. Those
were
fun.
You just set this up so beautifully.
Oh well. And like distracting yourself by filming is like the perfect way for us to just be like, hello.
Exactly, because you're not going to be paying attention to the fact that I'm breathing. Yeah, I'm hiding it as best as I can, but I'm breathing.
Yeah. There were
and also,
several times
the dummy's eyes were open, mine were closed. So
it is so interesting to like see, because like what's funny about the pumpkin room last year was that for a while it was so clear that ours were different than the animate pumpkins in the room, because the pumpkins in the room had not been given like the darker detailing that our masks had. And so it was like anyone that was like moderately awake, you could tell they were different unless you were like decently compromised. And so like people would come in and still not like, there were people who'd be like, oh yeah, I was saying that. And you're like, congratulations, you spent money to be boring. And then there would be people like, oh god, I don't know which one's real, and you're like, it's literally so obvious. They like added details later on.
It's obvious to you. I'll say this, going through a maze for the first time as a guest, you don't know what you're looking for, right?
Exactly.
So
and, like,
everything's
for me,
hitting
it was
you at
so
once.
funny. Exactly. What was so funny for me was like there were people who like could figure it out quickly, and then there was like I would say that was like 30% of people that were like, yeah. And then like the rest of everyone else was just like, oh my god, it's one of these rooms. Oh god. But so I think that was one of my favorite parts of the room, is like people don't know what that room looks like and they don't know what it is until you walk into it, obviously. So the reaction to what the room was one of my favorite things, because so often, you know, someone walk in, they go, oh hell no, and they just walk right back out. They're like, nope, not doing it.
You gotta keep going. Sorry, you gotta go through this.
And they go out because, like, you know, they walk in all confident, like the front of their group, and then they're like, no. They walk back. And
I just imagine the da-da-da, no, da-da-da.
Never mind. And then they come back through, like their whole group is like pushing them through the room. So those are some of my favorite reactions, because that room was also a challenge, like logistically, because it was like it was not a 90-degree turn. It was like a this.
Oh.
And so people would walk in here. The first pumpkin was here. The stilt was here. And the other pumpkin was either here or here, and the other, like the exit flap was here. Them to keep going, and like our exit was right here. So logistically, it was kind of a nightmare, because if the stilt is not in their position, the curtain that the stilt, like that covers like the stilt prep room, looks like the curtain they're supposed to walk through.
Oh.
If they don't use their eyeballs and look to the right where all the other pumpkins are. Because, you know, people, when they're in a thing, they're like not using their whole thing.
It's just like brains turned off. Sorry, I'm
absolutely.
They're scared, you know. That's usually
it's the, you know, they're in the experience and they're not thinking about their entire surrounding.
Yeah.
So we would have to realize very quickly, like if they were walking and didn't look like they were going to turn and there was no stilt there, person in like spot A would have to like run around the front and be like, to like
That way.
like
No.
make sure they don't go into the stilt room.
Oh,
Because what would
God.
happen is like the stilts did not have a camera back there in their room. So like when they would come out, they would usually just like whoosh through the curtain. And so if someone's walking through the curtain and the stilt is coming out of the curtain, people are gonna walk into stilt legs. So we had to
That's
like always be watching
painful.
the people. Yeah. So we like always had to be watching the people that looked like they weren't using their whole brain as they walked into the room. And be like, are you gonna turn right? Nope, I'm gonna help you turn right. So
This way. Hey, good little person.
You-
Good.
yep.
Good kiss.
So that was also kind of a challenge because the room itself was very small and there was a lot happening in like a very small square footage. Plus like all the people hitting us. It was really, really fun, but it was just like a big challenge and it was something that none of us had done. But then Billie Eilish came through that one night and that was amazing and I was like crying. But that was also a night where what was funny was I wasn't actually in the room when she came through and I was so mad because I was supposed to be on set but I had just gotten hit and I left.
Oh no!
Yeah, I was so mad. And what was crazy was that I was like at security and this was a night where they were making us do hour on, half hour off because we were down people and I was like so mad because we had gotten it to either 45s, like 45 and 45, or 45-30, which was just a little bit better than hour 30. Still was hard, but
Yeah.
we had been doing 45s for a little bit, and then it was like this one night where they had us doing hour and halves again, and I was so sad and just like upset because I was like, no,
It's the
this
worst
is so
setup.
hard. And I had left like report this person and then I was like literally taking like a 2-minute break outside because I was just like I'm dying of exhaustion. And then I hear everyone in the break area being like, oh my god, Billie Eilish is on the maze, Billie Eilish is in the maze. And I was like,
Of course.
and I was like, I'm not going. I was like, nah. And I walk around to like outside where like this basically where like you would come in through the side of the scare zone to like get to the break area. And I walked out over there because I wanted to I forget. I wanted to just like not be in the maze. I like told our supervisor, I was like, I need a minute. I was like, I'll go back in a little bit. Go back in like 5 minutes. I just like need to be not inside because I'm gonna like pass out in there. And yeah, it was like we were exhausted at that point, and
Fair
I'm
enough.
out there standing like at the gate, like watching the stilts do stuff. And one of the stilts like came over and like saw that I was crying, and he was like, "It's okay." It's like, "Are you okay?" And then he like went back to scaring people. And I'm sure it was also like, it was also probably that week. I'm sure it was the like I see out of the corner of my eye like coming down clearly from like being escorted around the back of the maze. It's just I see the green roots. And she's like 20 feet away from me, walking toward me with like her whole group of people, and I was like standing on the thing like, whoa, oh damn. And I just remember being like, Billy! And she turned away, she's like, hey, what's up? And I was just like, I love you! She like walked on with her crew, but I was like standing there like, okay, I got to see her. I didn't get to scare her, but I got to see her, and it was cool, and she said hello to me, and I was like, this is fine. Yeah, so it was like a big roller coaster of whatever. We also had the fire that year. That was nuts.
That's
Fire.
right.
Yeah, that fire weekend was rough.
Ugh.
So there was, it was again like a lot going on that we just like never expected. But it was a really fun year because we, like because of the success of like the Holidays in Hell Scare Zone the previous year, I'm so glad they decided to just like make it into its own maze because it was so fun. And all the characters, like we had, like, I mean, every year we just like we've had a great cast. And yeah, it's just been so much fun. It's the best job. It's the only job where I'm like, yes, I will voluntarily be there 40 hours a week.
Absolutely.
On the weekends.
Overtime. Let's go. Let's do it. Just give me time to stretch.
Do
Doc
it.
says, I'm going to bounce to Mama Wolf. Have a good night. Night, Remy. And good night, Doc. Thanks for being here. Thanks everyone for being here. We are at the end of the interview, actually. So before we say our goodbyes, Remy, is there any advice you would give to new scarers or potential scarers just getting started?
Ask questions. Ask a lot of questions. Ask as many questions as you possibly can. It is the people who are there are so knowledgeable about how to help you, and even if you think it's like a dumb question, like what do I do here, or like how can I do this, just ask them questions, because everyone wants you to scare well. As Scott says, don't suck. Everyone wants you to not suck. So just like ask questions and just have fun. It's so much fun. And what else? Drink water. Drink so much water. I would rather have to pee every single break than feel the slightest bit dehydrated during a set.
Oh, absolutely.
So drink all of the water.
Absolutely. Drink water, stay hydrated. I bring my own Gatorade powder, because after a while, just pure water is not enough. You need the electrolytes. And
it's true.
Yeah, so stay hydrated.
Definitely do that. I also, if you have tiny baby ears like me, like the regular earplugs don't fit in my ears, and that was like a problem my first year for the first couple of weeks, because I could not put in those earplugs, and so I ended up I've used these for the last 3 years. They're like the silicone. People use them mostly for swimming, but they still have like a decent like dB reduction, and it's maybe like a couple decibels off of like the regular earplugs that they hand out. And so that's been very helpful. If you don't like the feeling of regular earplugs, they sell silicone earplugs at like CVS and Ralph's and whatnot. So make modifications that work with your. It'll be a learning experience regardless. Every year is. It doesn't matter how many times you've done it. You will learn something new every single year. You will also see something you've never seen every single year. People are interesting, and guests do weird things every day, every night. Every night, guests are gonna do weird things.
People react to being scared differently, and yeah, you can categorize them in certain ways. Like, oh, you're a flight versus a fight, or a freeze, or something like that. But it's always different, and it's usually funny. And yes, we laugh at you.
Yes. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Yeah, those are my tips. Ask all the questions.
That's good.
Drink all the water.
Drink water.
Earplugs. Earplugs, yes. Just like things like it's gonna be you'll find out like what works for you. Also utilize like if someone recommends that you tape something, tape the thing. Like your ankle or your wrist. Protect, like use the I don't know what they're called, the like not physical therapists, maybe they are, I don't know.
If you have like a nurse's office or something, like go to them.
Yeah, or like last year they had like people every now and then like come to the maze with like the massage gun and like different roller things.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
It was so nice. Or like if you find, basically just like ask other people what they use, and this goes into my ask questions, like ask people what they use when like your shoulder hurts, or like how to do something so that it's not as impactful on your body. So yeah, ask all the questions, drink all the water, make modifications for things that work better for you.
Yeah, everybody is different. Everybody is different. Everybody is different.
Oh yeah.
So, and it is important.
Have fun.
Have fun, of course. Always have fun.
Have the most fun ever.
Oh, absolutely. It's such a unique, fun job that no one really thinks exists until you talk about it. The most common question I get when talking about scare acting is, what's a scare actor? What is scare acting? What? You go to a hunt and someone pops out at you? You don't think that's a real person, do you? It is, and that's what we do. Mm-hmm. We pop out and scare you, and so many guests think that they're the scare actors going boo back at you.
Yeah.
If you find yourself doing that, just audition. See if you can get the job, and then be the scare actor. Don't be that guest.
Yep. I think the last thing I'll end on is probably my favorite thing that a supervisor has said to a guest.
Yes.
we had my first year with Purge, there were those like storage containers that had strobes, and sometimes like characters would jump out of them. There was one day where a guest got in the container and was like trying to jump out at like their friends or whoever, and Gabby saw him get in the container, and it was like, sir, you need to get out of that container. And as he walked away, she was like, auditions are in July.
Gabby.
But I was like, I love you. It's true though, auditions are in July. And that's kind of been like the joke. Like anytime guests have tried to scare us, like under your breath, you're like, auditions are in July.
Yeah, just audition to be a scare actor. Don't touch our stuff. Don't try and do what we do.
Yeah, and it's like it's such a fun job, and like I never realized like how many hours it was until you get a paycheck and you're like, ooh, I worked that many hours. Wow.
Yeah, because time flies by.
But it doesn't feel like a job because it's not a regular job.
It isn't.
It's so much fun.
No.
So yeah, go for it. If you don't like get it your first year, like you said, like there are people who audition several years, and it's just the audition itself is so much fun too. So just like keep going to auditions because they're fun and you get to practice. And
if you really want to scare, in one particular place like HHN, absolutely don't give up. Keep going for it. You're gonna get it one day. You never know when, and learn from the experience every year auditioning. Like if you didn't get it, ask yourself why. Was it because of a performance issue, or was it just because of the characters that they had that year and you didn't fit any of them? You don't know why you don't get cast, but definitely like meditate on it and see if you can adjust in some way the next year. But if you aren't dead set on one haunt only, feel free to audition for other haunts. And you can start off small.
HHN is not the end all be all. There's so many haunts.
It's great. Each haunt has their own thing. Like HHN, Universal's thing is making it feel like you're in a movie, and they base it off the movies, so it's going to be very like cinematic. Versus other haunts that get very creative with what they do. Like I've gone to haunts that use blacklight paint and 3D, and they like paint in a way and give you 3D glasses and you go through and it like pops off the walls. It's really interesting. Other places, I want to work at one of these places that has a bungee where either the person is jumping down or they're jumping across something. Like they'll jump out at you and then they pull back in. That is the coolest thing. There was a scare actor who the year I wasn't here, 2017 in Orlando. If you look it up on YouTube, there is a shot of this, and it's from the maze that's called like Fallen. So it was 2017 Orlando, and the maze was called Fallen, and it was about like angels, devils, fallen angels is what it's called, Fallen, obviously. That makes sense.
But there's I was like mind blown that like this bungee concept existed, where you're walking through a thing and you turn to the left and you see the guy perched up on the thing like a gargoyle, and as soon as I like saw him, he was probably 20 feet away from me on this perch and jumped out and swooped down at me, and I lost my mind. It was so cool. It was the most epic thing I've ever seen. But yeah, there's haunts are so many different ones, and they're all so amazing in their own ways. I think my last tip, especially for auditions, if there is a thing that tells you not to do something, don't do that thing. If it says don't come in full character makeup, don't show up in full character makeup.
Did someone do that?
Will not go well.
Did you see something?
I did. Someone came in like full, what was it? It was like some character, it was like clearly a character, I don't remember what it was. It was like full face, like full outfit. I was like, this told what they told you not to do. Like they need to see your body, they need to see your face. Yeah, listen to instructions, and that crosses over into when you if you get cast,
just listen
do things that they tell you not to do.
Absolutely, because they know what they're looking for, and they have seen everything. They'll say like, don't come in a character for a reason, because people have come as a character before, and they can't hire those people because think of it this way.
You don't follow direction.
You are interviewing for a job, okay? They need to hire you, not as the character. They will cast you as whatever they see fit, but they can't see if you are already covered in all this gunk, and if you're wearing a certain costume, they can't see the potential in you if you're already masking up. And it also shows unprofessionalism.
Exactly. So yeah, just like follow the like everyone is there because they want you to succeed.
Yeah.
Because when you succeed as the Scareactor, like the event is successful. And so in order to do that, like you gotta follow the directions.
Yeah, they want you to be good. They're looking for good scare actors, so they're like working with you in a lot of ways. A lot of people go in feeling judged, like, oh, it's gonna be a hard no because of this. Don't shoot yourself in the foot like that. They want you to be good. Just relax, have fun. I full on fell in one of my auditions and still got cast. So just do your best. Go as you, wear comfortable clothes because you are going to be moving. Don't come in a full face of makeup. Hell, don't wear any makeup. They're going to see you like that
I haven't worn any makeup in any of my auditions. I was like, this is my face.
Yeah, no, like I'll wear like some cover up or something, but overall you might get a little sweaty, so, you know, don't wear makeup. Definitely not fake blood. Stuff like that. Nothing around
And the comfortable clothes thing is so important. Not only because like they need to see like how you move, but it's so like you want to be comfortable because you don't want to be thinking about what you're wearing when you're trying to think about not hitting the cones, doing a character thing, or following the directions. Like your clothes are what you look like is not what you want to be thinking about while you're in it. So like comfortable, easy, tie your hair back so they can see your face.
Be comfortable and know you're gonna move because every haunt, just about every haunt asks you to move because that's a big thing in scare acting. That's like the main thing in scare acting is your movement and how you move. I've seen people audition in jeans. I've seen people audition in dresses. Don't do that.
Don't do it.
Because
don't do it.
Part of my audition one year, I felt so bad for the person in jeans. Part of my audition was to do a duck walk. If you don't know what it is, it's like you get down, like your butt's almost touching the ground, and you're supposed to walk forward like this. Horrible for the knees, but we had to do that, and the person in jeans is like, I can't get low, I can't bend. Same with the girl in the dress having to do the duck walk. Everything is showing when you're doing a duck walk, so you know, wear yoga pants, wear workout clothes, wear sweatpants.
I've worn yoga pants and just like a t-shirt every single year.
Same, like I would wear this kind of t-shirt. Just like, hey, what's up? T-shirt, comfortable. Nothing too loose also, because you don't want to get caught when you're moving. Because if
and even
too
like
loose,
for whatever reason, if you do something that's like on the floor, for example, not that you're going to be doing a downward dog during your audition or anything, but like you don't want your shirt to move.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're moving.
People audition doing like back bends and stuff. So if you're one of those people and you know that's what you're going to do, wear something a little more tighter.
Better shirt.
Yeah, that way you don't expose yourself in a way. But nothing.
And you don't have to worry about it too. That's the big thing.
Yeah. Wear whatever's comfortable for you, knowing you're going to be doing a lot of weird movements. Make sure you can bend in it. Make sure you can move in it, sweat in it, whatever. But go in with that mindset of I'm just going to have fun. I'm going to be comfortable as I possibly can be given the circumstances. And just be yourself because they're hiring. Yeah,
don't be afraid to be weird.
And it's even better to show your own personality before switching into character, because that extreme juxtaposition, like the extreme jump to it, is also proof of like how much your range is. Because I'll go into my usual bubbly self like, hey, hi Scott, how's it going? Cool. Okay, well, I'm gonna be a marionette fighting for her human side. Ready? Okay, let's do this. And like it's such a big change, and it freaks them out because it also kind of creates a jump scare if you do it right.
Exactly.
Yeah, so go in as yourself. Be comfortable. Move. Have fun.
Yep.
Because we're all rooting for you. We want to work with great scare actors. We want to work with great people. We want everyone to be happy, healthy, have fun. Make friends, all that stuff. So, sorry, I took over the advice giving there, but I was piggybacking off what you said because I thought it was so great.
Is there, yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's so important to just like, you know, as nervous as you might be, especially for people who have never done anything like that before, like that's how I was my first audition. I hadn't worked at a theme park yet. I didn't know anything about anything, so I had only been to the event once. And I was just like, have fun, do the things, fun, and it worked.
Breathe and stretch beforehand. Get grounded. Get grounded first, because if you're too in your head about it, if you're too freaking out, if your breathing is off, you could potentially hurt yourself in the audition. So make sure to take that moment, whatever time you need before your audition, just sit down somewhere, breathe, stretch, listen to some music to pump you up a bit, like get in a good
be
mindset.
on time for your audition. Be like super early.
Well, not super.
So early.
Don't be like 2 hours early for the audition. No one's gonna want to see you there. But do show up early, because if you're if you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late. If you're late, you're fired. So
exactly.
Yeah, be sure to get there early. I'd say
I'm always
20 minutes early. It depends on where you're auditioning. Once again, but for HHN, I'll get there like 15-20 minutes early for my call time. I'll get through the line, and even then it'll still take them like an extra 30 minutes to get in the door. So they might be behind, you don't know, but your job is to get there early.
Exactly.
And don't bank on them being late either, because you might get called in after those 15 minutes.
All of the years that I've auditioned, and this is me, like I have such anxiety for being late, and so I'm always like so early, not like at the hotel early. I am parked, like let's say my audition is at like 3 p.m. I will park at 2 o'clock and like walk around City Walk or something. So I'm just like in the area so that I know like I'm not gonna, there's not gonna be traffic.
Yeah, there's no traffic you gotta deal with.
There's no
You're
traffic.
already there.
I'm already here, and then I have like an alarm set for like what time I need to walk over to the hotel.
I do that
so
too.
that I have time to like park, go to the bathroom, all the things. So like if you're worried about being late, you can also get there really early, but just not go to the place exactly. Sit in your car, do whatever.
Yeah. And then that'll also help with your mindset, because then you're not like rushing into it. You'll have that.
That's exactly
time
why
to,
I do it.
to settle down a bit, because I get that way too. I'm just like, I can't be late. I can't be late. So I'll get there early enough to just have that time. William goes,
my computer is on 9%.
Good, we're wrapping up anyway. All right. Well, thank you so much, Remy. Would you like to promote anything, your social media, whatever projects?
I mean, my Instagram is it's my whole name. It's Remy, Remy, Jean, Jean, I can spell. Bessolo, Bessolo, which is my like full name. That was Yelp telling me I should go to a restaurant.
Not during a pandemic, Yelp, come on.
Right.
The panorama's still happening, guys.
It is. But yeah, I mean, anything to promote? Ew, I started teaching online. That was really fun.
Nice.
I teach on outschool.com, which is fun. Which is for like kids ages 3 to 18. So if you like know people with kids who want to take
and like it's classes, age range yourself,
or you are the kid 3 to 18. Outschool has like a bunch of different classes. I know my battery's low. And it's like academic classes and interest-based classes. So like all the classes I teach are like nature journaling, emotional regulation for like little kids, and so it's like a whole bunch of fun stuff, and that's been like mostly what I've been doing, along with like voice acting, which like that's a whole thing. But voice acting is fun. And
what kind of voice acting?
Online, usually like e-learning and like corporate like corporate stuff, a lot of like explainer videos for like business to business explainer videos. So a lot of it's like stuff I don't even know. I'm like reading things like, the IBM cloud can blah, 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 blah. And people, I'm like, I don't even know what I'm saying. It's really fun, and it's mostly e-learning and corporate, and then like a little bit of like educational apps for kids, and a like little bit of animation. Mostly e-learning, which is like not what I expected to do when I started voiceover, because everyone's like, I want to be in animation, and then like it's way harder than it sounds.
Yeah, you never really know where you're gonna end up, but there's so much to voice acting, so I'm glad you found an itch.
It's a huge industry, but yeah, mostly e-learning, corporate, and then like a decent amount of commercial as well. But
okay.
It's been fun. So yeah, out school, voiceover, those are like my things right now, which is fun.
Yeah,
this has been so much fun. Thanks.
If you want to follow her, I have the Instagram right below her face. Follow me on all the things. They're below me. Yeah, follow us on all the things. Thanks for being here. Have a good night, everyone. And happy Easter. That's tomorrow.
Makes me think of the scary Easter bunny from the maze.
Holidays in hell. All right.
Oh, yeah.
Happy Easter. Be safe. Have fun. And I will see you tomorrow on Easter for Skyrim Sunday. Bye, everybody.